gonna wait till some people get in here before I start talking. I'm pretty angry. It's too early? Yeah, well, I agree, Doug. Actually, I was about to find a way to argue that, but hi, Richard. Hi, Isaac. I just got done listening to a recording of, oh, thank you, Nightmare. Hi. I just got done listening to a recording of, Anthony, the stepdad of Caitlyn, and I am so mad. I have so much to say. I really wish Cherokee, the one who talked to him on the phone, was here right now. Oh, thank you, Nightmare, for the applause. Hmm? You're my #1 fan. That's cool. Hi, Reyes R. Always coffee with a straw. Always. Because I want my teeth to stay white and clean. I'm going to see if my friend Cherokee can come in here because I really need to vent. There's a lot I need to vent about. And going hunting? No, I don't do that. Except I hunt for food that's not meat in my fridge in the grocery store. Vent away? Yeah, but it's about okay, so I don't know if you watched the stream last time, but my friend Cherokee, she had a conversation with the stepdad of Katelyn Nicole Davis. He has been my #1 person I have pointed the finger at for Caitlyn's depression and stuff, because he was the one that told her to hang herself. He was the one that told her he would buy the rope, etc., etc. He was the one that that molested her. And you're out of touch with this? Okay, so there's a little bit of a summary. And he's been lucky. He hasn't gotten in trouble for anything despite all the evidence against him. And my friend Cherokee she recorded a conversation with him, and I don't even know where to begin. I just heard the conversation. I don't even know where to begin. Like, first, he's dumber than I originally thought. And I'm not saying dumber like to make fun, like, oh, he's stupid. I mean, like, he didn't even know what she meant when she said 5 figures, like referring to an amount, like money wise. He didn't even know what that meant. Okay, this is a grown man. And so there was that. He kept trying to blame Caitlyn for things. He was so casual, and even was like smirking, or not smirking, but the way he was talking about Caitlyn's death was like, it was appalling. Then he blamed the fact that his ex-wife lost the kids on the media. He was referring to people like me who come out here and talk about things like that. Like lack of logic, and just he's so egocentric. Like, I don't even know where to begin. But I'm gather your thoughts. Yeah, gather my thoughts. I literally pictured my thoughts just all falling and me trying to gather them. It stinks that the only time I can really live stream is like when everybody's still asleep. I mean, I could live stream at night, but then I'd have people who probably would feel like I'm ignoring them or something. I don't know. I could be wrong about that, but that's just what I feel like. Doug, were you born in 1969, or are you just a pervert and that's why you put 69 at the end of your name? I don't think Cherokee's awake yet. I'm going to see. Let's see. Is Cherokee awake? Hi, new person. Is that Tim? Born, it's a stigma I deal with. It's my email. Oh, Well, a lot of other people were born in 69 too, Doug. You're not the only one. Let's see. Cherokee. She was active 1 hour ago. Oh, okay. So she's been up since like 7 a.m. then. So, or not up, but she's been on Messenger since then. So maybe that's good. Maybe she's like in the shower or something. Or maybe she went back to sleep. I wasn't thinking when I made my email. Hi, DJ Webby. On camera, it looks like there's like a stain or something right here, but there's really not. Added the 69 for your birthday. Yeah. I gotta stretch. I'm sorry. Realizing after, well, yeah. So, look what came in the mail for my daughter. We got it from China off eBay, and it's finally here. Not the best quality, but it was super cheap, and she's been wanting one. It's really not bad quality, but Dragon Ball Z hoodie. So, that's my chair squeaking, by the way. Gosh, I'm so sorry for being so boring right now. Hi, Sarah Smile. It says it's your first time on here, so welcome. Were you born July 8th, 1999? It is the chair. I promise. Listen. It sounds like a donkey. Hi, Sarah. Smile with a smiley. My gosh. Last night's beans. No, last night I had way too much oatmeal. That's been like my binge food lately. I had a lot of oatmeal. I had a whole pack of blueberries in it. Well, not that big, but like that big. And that's still a lot. Then I had, what else did I eat? Sweet potatoes, salad, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, celery, cucumbers with garlic and paprika and salt and pepper. Everything you can imagine. A garden. Debbie Harry. Who's that? I don't know who that is. That's gassy food? Is it? I don't know what to do with my hair right now. With this much root growth, it just feels like no. And I don't want to do my roots because it's winter and I mostly wear hats, and then I don't see the point. We're supposed to get a lot of snow this Saturday, and it's supposed to stick. And that means it's going to be the beginning of our Minnesota winter, where it looks like Silent Hill, but like pump up the ash. Or I guess it looked, well, yeah, anyway. Okay, so I'm going to part it this way. And then I'm going to, I don't know what. That's why I did like a ponytail on the side earlier. Doug. Hi, Tone up Tony. Tone up Tony. Tune up Tony. I still feel half asleep. Did you get my last voice message? Let me see, Doug. I don't even see any of your stuff. There you are. No, I didn't. I posted an ad, and I got on a for sale group, and I got a lot of responses, and so it kind of bombarded my inbox. So I didn't see it until now. Sorry. But I won't play it on here because I don't want everybody to hear it. Hi, CJ. Welcome to you now. It looks so gray outside. I don't want to sit in this chair. I want to get up and move. Last time I tried to live stream outside though, was my camera trying to focus? There. What's the weather? I don't really know. Let's see. I'm gonna Google it. Um, 29 degrees with 8-mile-per-hour winds. And actually, I'm gonna check the hourly. The weather forecast. The weathermen up here, or weather women, I don't know, the people who like figure out the weather up here, they're never accurate. It's not, well, compared to like it was in Memphis. I think maybe it's just harder to detect it up here because it changes more. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, it actually says it's gonna be sunny today around 1 o'clock. That's cool. So, but then before that, oh, and it's gonna go up a little above freezing. That's nice. Yeah, that's cool. I guess not my kind of weather, but moved to Florida, calm and 80 degrees. Ah, that sounds so nice. Looking to go to Florida. Yeah, Doug's actually moving there like soon, right, Doug? It's freezing in Ohio. Like, is it literally like, is it below freezing right now? I'm sorry, Sarah. Well, you might like that kind of weather. A lot of people like that. A lot of people are unique. Wow, was now next year. Oh, actually, same here. What caused you to have to delay moving? Was it the hurricanes? Cashola. Huh? Mi no comprende. Not fiscally possible. Oh, yeah, that kind of matters. When I worked at Subway though, like the owners, Vinny and Asha, they came here with like, I think they said like $600 in the bank and that was it. Like they came to America from India, I mean, left that little detail out. And I thought that was really cool and inspiring. But I guess like their kids were fully grown, so it was a little different than if like you did because you have a younger child. That would be pretty bad. Although I could see my kids like being excited. They would think it was like an adventure or something, but wouldn't be probably the most responsible thing to do. Look, I'm #1 on Celeste Who Knows. Who'd have thunk that? Like, on Celeste Who Knows, I'm #1. Just kidding. Oh, you said but sunny in New York? Sorry, I just saw that. Hi, Rod. How are you doing? I almost called you Roderick, and then I realized that, didn't you say that's actually not your real name? Hey, this is Kate. Really? Hi, Jeremy. I think I actually saw pictures of you on somewhere. I saw pictures of you. Brunette guy, blue eyes, I think. Looks really young, like 19. I wonder if your birthday is April 26th. Hey, Rod, you should get a picture in here. So just so you know, Jeremy, I started off this live stream pretty fuming because I heard a recording of, oh, brown eyes or brown hair. I heard a recording of Anthony. I heard him talking to Cherokee, and it was pretty. What did you think of Anthony's video? Yeah. Oh, brown eyes. Okay, yeah, brown eyes like I do. I was fuming. First of all, his whole attitude was super pompous. Like he's discussing his deceased daughter. I don't like to refer to her as his daughter. And he's pompous about it and casual. Like you would think he was talking about like how the car mechanic messed up on his car. Or actually I've heard more passion when people talk about that. And then he kept trying to redirect the conversation to blame Caitlyn for things. Like when Cherokee asked him why he was on Caitlyn's Facebook account right after what happened, his response was, well, Caitlyn's sneaky. Like, really? What? Like, how does your train of thought even operate like that? Caitlyn's sneaky. Like, and then he was saying, and then right after that, he starts talking about how Caitlyn beat up on Tammy, which, I'm sure they had quarrels or whatever, but I'm not really sure how that had anything to do with the questions Cherokee was asking about Anthony. She was actually going easy on him. I would have asked him about the things he said to Caitlyn and touching her. Well, I think Cherokee actually did, and that's when he was talking about how he can't even get sexual. The whole thing was just, it made me, I can't even say cringe because everybody uses that so loosely now, but it actually made me cringe. And he's very dumb too. That's what I was saying at the beginning of this. Like, I'm not saying that like, oh, haha, he's an idiot. Like, he truly is uneducated. Like, he didn't even know what the term 5 figures meant when Cherokee said that. But if that were the least of his problems, or the most of his problems, then that wouldn't really be a big deal. I have a lot of not so smart friends, but he was just as I expected. Unapologetic, lying, egocentric, no humility at all. Am I chopping up? It's chopping up on my screen. Like, it's starting to do that thing. He and Tammy are idiots and worthless. You feel that way about Tammy too? You don't. Okay, so I'm talking to Jeremy right now. Do you want to come on here, Jeremy? I can co-host with you. That's another thing, speaking of Tammy, is that Anthony in the conversation said that y'all, and he was referring to people like me, since unfortunately only 2 media outlets have covered Caitlyn and barely have, and it's been alongside other suicides. He was referring to the likes of me and said that the media, it's our fault that Caitlyn, that Tammy has gotten in trouble and the kids are taken. And he was also saying that he's like, y'all are so worried. Yeah, we are worried. Duh. For obvious reasons. I would hope anybody with a heart and a brain would be worried about this. And then he was saying if y'all really cared about her, y'all would have done something while she was alive. Like, I'm flattered that he thinks that we're psychic. I'm very flattered, but how can we help somebody we don't even know existed at the time? I would love to, but I have to go to work in 5 minutes. I would love to talk to you one day very soon. Okay, well, here, I'll put in my Facebook stuff, and that's usually the easiest way to catch me. This is where you can search for me on Facebook. But people would really be interested to hear what you have to say, Jeremy, because most people are on your side in terms of how they feel about Tammy. Initially, I was pretty upset with her. I never like went off on her or said anything bad to her, but I know that she's going through a lot. I'm so sick of hearing that we should have helped her when we weren't allowed near her. Who didn't allow you near her? Was it Tammy? I don't know why anybody would keep people from her. I know that I saw people in the trailer going in and out of it, like her cousins. Tammy? See, I don't know. This is the thing, though. When I was Caitlyn's age, a lot of my dad's family made really hardly any effort to see me or call me or ever. Like, no effort. And they would always blame my mother. The thing is my mom didn't keep them from me. It's just that they allowed all the bickering from my mother. They would let that be an excuse to not make an effort to see me. Leverage against my brother? Well, I still saw like nephews and nieces of Tammy's coming in and out to see Caitlyn. Are you sure it wasn't like, well, I'm not asking you as if you wouldn't know, but is it possible that people just didn't want to bother with Tammy? I mean, because I don't see how she could actually keep people from seeing Caitlyn. Again, that's the same sort of stuff that my dad's family would be saying if I were dead. If I had done what Caitlyn did, they would be saying the same thing. And the fact is that they didn't want to bother with my mother's drama, but they still could have made more of an effort to see me. I think Tammy loved Caitlyn, but due to whatever happened in her life, she reacted with Caitlyn in a normal way. In her life, she reacted with Caitlyn in a normal way. I think Tammy loved Caitlyn, but due to whatever happened in her life, she reacted with Caitlyn. I'm a little confused with what you mean, Steve, but I think I have an idea of what you're saying. I also agree that I think there were conversations where Tammy would, granted, she didn't really engage enough, like when Caitlyn would talk about Luke and things like that. I mean, my son is 2 years younger than Caitlyn, and he right now the only really interactive game he plays online it's called Roblox, and there's like a little chat, and even in that little chat that's very strongly moderated, I still I zoom in on every little thing they talk about, and I don't know though, her situation's a lot different. Sorry, would not react in a normal way. So now let me reread that. I think Tammy loved Caitlyn, but due to whatever happened in her life, she would not react with Caitlyn at all. Yeah, I agree. But that's where we kind of have to be careful with making excuses for Tammy and that far off, because a lot of us grew up with abusive parents, and we could have used that as an excuse to perpetuate the abuse. But I do agree that Tammy loved Caitlyn. To her ability. And I know that she's going through a lot right now. And I know that. I know that she wants her babies back. I know that too. I just don't see how it's possible that Tammy could keep Caitlyn from people. And Jeremy, I'm not saying that's not the vibe that you got or the message that was sent to you from Tammy. But unless she was locking Caitlyn up and locking the doors up and saying stay away and threatening y'all, also the state of Georgia and Floyd Polk County screwed over my niece. My wife and I tried to adopt her, really, when she was 4, but told no because hi, hate sounds. In a second, I'm actually going to play the recording of Anthony, because for those of y'all who haven't heard, I want y'all to hear. It's on YouTube. It's not uploaded by me. It's uploaded by Justice for Caitlyn, and Cherokee Ross is the one who did it. No, the government, didn't want to split her up from her birth giver. Yeah, that is where. So was Tammy on pills then? Like, is that why y'all wanted to adopt Caitlyn? Oh my gosh, I wish y'all would have been able to, because Caitlyn could very well still be here right now if that were the case. What are we talking about? Hate sounds. We're talking about Jeremy is, well, it looks like you know Jeremy, Caitlyn's uncle, and he was talking about how he was going to adopt her, but the way that the government works, I guess there wasn't enough compelling reason for, even though, you know, from a practical standpoint, there was enough compelling reason for them to adopt her, but like legally speaking, I think there has to be like overwhelming evidence. So the uncle of Caitlyn, he's in the chat right now, and he's saying that he and his wife tried to adopt Caitlyn when she was 4, but the government told her no, they didn't want to split her up from the birth giver. Which, obviously now, was a horrible, horrible decision on behalf of the government. Which, there was, all you had to do was look at that trailer. I agree. That's why I'm so shocked when CPS supposedly was coming over in the weeks preceding Caitlyn leaving us. And I can't believe that they were okay with what they saw. Like, why are none of them held accountable? I don't understand that either. Their whole job is to prevent this very stuff. And they sent her to, okay, this is the thing, and I know this about CPS. I know this through the whistleblowers of CPS. They make money every time a child is taken from a home, but that's not normally the first route they take. The first route they take is what they did with Caitlyn, where they want to pump them up with pills. And they make these therapists, these child therapists that they send these kids to, they make huge money every time they refer a child or a child gets scheduled with a therapist. They make commission by doing that. So then they also make money every time the child gets given a prescription. That gives them more commission. Well, not the prescription part. That's more for the psychiatrist. But they still make money every time they get a kid sent to a therapist. I know that for a fact, and it's big commission too. So there's that incentive for them to do that. So rather than changing Caitlyn's environment, rather than taking her out of the environment, they gave her pills. They acted like she was the one who needed to change things. I mean, it's just insane. I wish this was an hour later because I have a ton of questions, but I'm working. Anthony P. I dealt with CPS when I was younger with my parents in Rome, Georgia. They feed the court all kinds of lies to make my mom look bad. Yeah. Yeah, I don't even want to get started with that right now. Mr. Gunk contacted me because of my firsthand experience with CPS, and luckily, I mean, I'm a pretty open person, so there's really, like, I don't feel targeted wrongly. But I witnessed so much wrongdoing when I was in the women's shelter when CPS was there. They were there in hiding. Like, people didn't even know it was them. But I eventually was made privy to that, to who they were. And then I quickly saw what their tactics were. And it was really scary, actually. But, yep, the pills is what killed her. You can see it in her video. Yeah. She went from being, well, you can just see she was more on edge, and her pupils were huge, and she was, are you the one that emailed me, Anthony, by the way? I got a really long email from an Anthony who enlightened me to a lot of the Prozac stuff. I mean, I already knew about the Prozac stuff, but like in terms of every little detailed pattern of Caitlyn's that was changing over time on live stream. I don't like Mr. Gunk. He keeps saying really rude things about my brother without knowing the full. I've actually never watched any of his videos except the Caitlyn one. And he contacted me about, how did it even start? How did it even start? I don't even remember, but, he hasn't, I mean, I don't know. I know that the last video that he did where he brought Caitlyn up, I was a little, it was off-putting for me that he said it was sponsored. It was a sponsored video because it was like, oh, okay. But then at the same time, he didn't have to say that it was sponsored. I don't think he did anyway. So, like, for him to volunteer that information made it feel, like, less bad. Why does he keep saying rude things about your brother? I don't know him as a person. When it comes to Caitlyn, I mostly keep in touch with people who, and when I say keep in touch, we talk all the time. Like, we talk almost pretty much daily in a group together. And it's me, and it's Rod Starkey, and it's Ron. I don't know if these people want their last names said, but it's Courtney, Ian, and Wendy. We all exchange thoughts, updates. Sometimes we just randomly cry on there for Caitlyn. It's almost like a grief support group. All of the family is lying. Is Tony B? Are you Tony Baisley? Yes, you're Tony Baisley. Hi, Tony. He's in the chat right now. Tony Baisley just said all of the family is lying. Look at all the many photos of Caitlyn happy with other family members. You have no idea of the condition of that home. Are you talking about in the trailer, Tony? Or are you talking about when she was in photos at other people's houses? You're right, though. I don't know the full condition of the home. I'm going off of the live stream that Caitlyn had the 30 days preceding her death. If any of you want to come on and talk, you can. It's really early where I am, and I'm still trying to wake up. That's why it's been hard for me to find the words to describe things. But that's another thing Anthony mentioned, was he referred to us as the media. And by us, I'm talking about people like me who've come out and just vented about things. And, you know, granted, maybe for some people it has been like a media outlet. Maybe they wanted that sort of attention. But my initial few videos where I got on to tell people to quit calling people attention whores when they get online and they talk about wanting to kill themselves, etc., etc. That was pure, I didn't even know what I was going to say. I just knew that I was angry and I wanted to get on camera. And like for Anthony to act like that's the reason that Tammy had her kids taken. Jeremy said, I cried so many times that when I went to visit my family and was told that I would get to see her and Tammy would just change her mind literally at the last second. Really? Why? Did it have to deal with her addiction, or? I'm really sorry that y'all had to go through that. Hi, Mr. Hurtful. Thank you for the applause. I'm so sorry. You knew Caitlyn personally. And for people like me and the people I talked about in our group who talk about Caitlyn every day, like, I can't even imagine what it would be like to know Caitlyn personally. And then, like, I can't even imagine. Because, you know how they say every single time someone dies, every single time you hear the same thing about, oh, their smile lit up a room. Oh, they were just this great person, blah, blah. And I'm sure a lot of times that's true. But the little bit that I got to know of Caitlyn from her live streams, that really was her without even trying. Like, without even trying. Jeremy said, no, she is just really messed up like that. If she didn't get what she wanted, she wouldn't let us even glance at Caitlyn. That's how my mom was with me when I was little. And I resented her for that because I had no family growing up and we were isolated and hated ourselves and we didn't know. Anyway, yeah, that's not cool. So that's pretty, I don't want to label Tammy a narcissist, but that's kind of narcissistic to do. The thing is, though, is maybe she felt like they were going to talk. I'm not saying this made it okay, but maybe she felt like the other family members were going to, like, pull her away from her. Because Caitlyn was the only person who was, like, there for Tammy. And I know it shouldn't be like that because that was her daughter and she should have been more there for her daughter, which she was in a lot of ways. But maybe she felt like other family members were going to take her one light from her life, which was Caitlyn. You know, maybe that's what she was scared about, was that if Caitlyn saw, and I'm not saying that makes it okay, but because of Tammy's isolation and the control she had to deal with growing up, I mean, the stories I've heard of her childhood, I mean, Caitlyn was probably like the one thing in her life that made her feel loved. And I mean, even if you look at Tammy's dating profile from years back before she met Anthony, she did put on there that she wanted a man who would spend time with her and her daughter. She talked about Caitlyn on her dating profile a lot, and Tony Baisley said, well, the only room that was in bad condition was Caitlyn's ex-bedroom. She was not sleeping in that room. Tammy tells her to keep out. So why was Caitlyn saying that's where she slept then? Jeremy Davis said, that's exactly it. She knew Caitlyn would tell what was going on and we would lose it. Oh, so it was more of like she was afraid of, was neglect going on at that time? Or is that just a dumb question? I mean, it sounds like there was. But I mean, when I was little, there wasn't even neglect or anything going on. My mom was just so insecure, and like, yes, it was. Okay, there was neglect. So how come nobody would just show up and like just wait outside? Like, I know that may sound ridiculous, but and I wonder the same thing about Caitlyn's biological dad. Like, I would just wait outside. Thank you, Nightmare. I mean, I'm not saying that like you did anything wrong, because you know hindsight's always 20/20, Jeremy. I mean, it's not like Tammy was putting a gun to anyone's head. Or Steve Smith. There was one video, if I remember, she said she was moved to the bathroom to sleep. When I was pregnant with my son, I was sleeping on a mold and mildewed floor of a friend's house because I had nowhere to stay, and it was, and my friends were good people. They were poor. And Jeremy, I'm not saying that it makes it okay. I'm just saying that sometimes there are challenges in life, and what really matters is if things were being done to get rid of the mold and mildew. Jeremy said Anthony had threatened my brother and told him if he showed, he would shoot him. See, now this is where I feel bad for Tammy, okay? Because if that just shows how controlling Anthony was. And Tammy's mother, Debbie, did tell me that Anthony threatened everybody, threatened to kill Tammy even if she was gonna leave him. I've been in relationships like that. Tammy's pretty much my same age. I mean, she's just, what, a year older than me or something? So, like, I understand where she's coming from with that kind of control. She probably truly thought he would kill her and Caitlyn. Tony Baisley said, you were lying, Jeremy. I know all about you and your side of the story. All your social media detectives have 1 hour of a video a day, and you know it all. And Jeremy said, Tony, you better watch it. You don't know anything. Tony basically said, Steve Smith, you're an idiot. Tony, Steve's videos are very, very insightful. And I think, Tony, that have you watched his videos? Because he actually shows like the chat logs on his videos. And I feel like I think those are important. Tony Baisley, don't you think that's important to see the chat logs of the men who were watching Caitlyn in the chats? Jeremy Davis said, he doesn't know me. Yeah, I don't think any of us really know each other right now, to be honest. Like, it's not really fair for any of us in the chat or me to assess anything about y'all, because I don't know. And y'all don't know each other either, so. I do know that we all love Caitlyn, okay? I know for a fact Steve loves Caitlyn. I know for a fact Jeremy loves Caitlyn. Tony Baisley, I flip-flop with you, okay? Because, like, sometimes, I mean, I don't know. Like, there are certain things that you've said to people that about Anthony, you said that he only touched her once in the pool, and I don't see how anybody could chalk that off as just a minor thing. I don't know if you were saying that, Tony, to be like, I don't know. Is it cold there? Yeah, it's below freezing. It's very cold. Is it cold where you are, Zosin? Tony Baisley said, I will get to know you, Jeremy. I have seen all those logs for 9 months, Celeste. You have seen the chat logs on the videos? Well, I actually didn't see all those chat logs until I watched Steve's videos. And it's interesting I like seeing it on the video though instead of just reading the logs, because you can see Caitlyn's reactions to it. And I've actually Googled all the names of the people who are in her chats, like, you know, their screen names and stuff. And some of them actually have Google Plus profiles where they're like asking young girls to send photos and stuff. It's very telling of the type of people who would watch Caitlyn. Jeremy said, yeah, considering I have held that sweet girl numerous times, and I loved her with all my heart, and I will never get to see her again. I don't even know what to say, Jeremy. You know, I can tell you this, Jeremy, that I can tell by the way you talk about Caitlyn that she probably, I know she knew that you loved her, and that's a good thing. And she might have even remembered you holding her as a young child. And I'm not in any of those chats. I wasn't aware of any of her online activities until after her death. I don't even think her mom was. I don't even think the people she lived with were aware of those chats. Because I never heard Tammy mention anything about, like, stay out of those chats, or, I mean, she didn't ask where she met Luke, to my knowledge. That would have been my first question to my child, is where did you meet this guy? Tony Baisley said, those chat logs are on mega.nz.a file sharing site. I thought you just said that you never saw her because you were stopped. Tammy never knew about it. Tammy never knew about the chats. So Tony asked you, Jeremy, I thought that you said you never saw her because you were stopped. Are you referring to, like, you didn't get to see her once she was older, like more pre-teenage, or? I'm going to see who's all in my audience right now. Flapjack, Richard Stiles, Tone Up Tony, Jeremy Davis, T. Worley, Tony Baisley, Steve Smith, and Anthony Piccolo. I'm going to shrink this real quick and so, okay, Jeremy said the last physical time I got to see her was around the age of 4 or 5. Okay. So you said that y'all tried to adopt her and y'all were aware of all the neglect at the house. So, was there any more action over the years to help Caitlyn's situation, to help Tammy become like a stronger person? Because I know y'all all had to know how Tammy grew up. And Jeremy, I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm just wondering, like, so was it like once y'all realized y'all weren't able to adopt Caitlyn, y'all just dropped any effort to help her situation, or and I'm not coming after you. I just really wish somebody would have helped Caitlyn all those years. I mean, that means from what, 5 to 12 nobody checked in or Tony Baisley said Caitlyn hid all the streaming in the fight video edited by the liar. Okay. Nobody edited the fight video. The video was uploaded from her LiveMe account. And please don't call names, Tony. Okay, never mind. Well, you did call her a liar. She's not a liar. You don't have to like Courtney, but she's not a liar. I'm not sure what you're responding to, Jeremy. I just wish that people would have made more effort to check in on Caitlyn. I mean, because people did the same thing to me when I was little. They didn't know all those years that I was going through homelessness and abuse and all that, because it was like once they realized my mom was a difficult person to deal with, they just didn't want to deal with me either at all. And I know that y'all knew what Tammy was raised like, and she needed an intervention to help empower her as a mother. And in the meantime, Caitlyn didn't need to be at the receiving end of, the obvious. And there just needed to be more intervention. We all tried, my family, that is, calling CPS, reporting Tammy, and other things. Rod Starkey said Tony is full of it. So when you say that y'all tried, you said y'all called CPS and y'all reported Tammy. But what about trying to empower Tammy? And I know that may sound ridiculous, but it's really not. She's the mother of Caitlyn. Or even offer them to stay with them, because did nobody ever offer for Caitlyn and Tammy to live with them so that Tony Baisley just said, you have no idea about all this, Celeste. You need to stop. About all of what? See, what I'm doing right now, Tony, is this is open discussion. You're absolutely right. I don't have any idea of a lot of what I'm talking about. This is called, this is exchanging ideas, which is what people do when they are emotional about something. They exchange ideas. Jeremy said she didn't want anything to do with any of us. But that's the thing. That wasn't Caitlyn's fault. Who is this Tony guy? Tony is somebody who comments a lot on a bunch of Katelyn Nicole Davis videos, on not just mine, but on everyone's. And he says he's in a relationship with Caitlyn's mother, Tammy. And he has sent death threats to pretty much everyone I know, including myself. And he said he stays in touch with Tammy. I don't know. Tony Baisley said, no, it isn't a social media public broadcast witch hunt. No, it isn't. It's a social media public broadcast witch hunt. See, this is where, Tony, you're either confused or you're just seeing what you want to see. Because we want, and by we, I'm talking about me and other people who talk about Caitlyn, we want Tammy to get better for the sake of Abby and AJ. And from the beginning, I didn't even know Caitlyn's parents. When I would talk about bullying is what I would talk about, because I'm still a part of all these groups on Facebook where girls will be cutting their wrists, they'll be saying they want to kill themselves, and instead of supporting them and trusting their feelings, people will call them attention whores. And Caitlyn is proof that that's not always the case. Thank you, Doug. Thank you for the likes. Rod Starkey said, Anthony said social media is responsible for Tammy's situation. How about he is responsible? Exactly. Exactly. Tony Baisley said, I see you. Look at all your past broadcasts. Yep, you're right. They're there. They're there. And there's nothing to hide. I have nothing to hide. So Douglas Bergman said, sorry to interrupt. Jeremy said, Celeste, I will talk to you tomorrow. I am off, but I have to start work now. Okay. That sounds good. Tomorrow I'm going over some girlfriend's house to do their makeup and hair and take beauty photos of them. I don't know how long that's going to be, but you can just message me and Doug, you don't have to be sorry for interrupting. Yep, me too. Checking in, back to work. Okay. I think Rod's doing the same thing too. Everybody's pretty much at work. Tony said, you attacked Tammy and many of them, and you will not remove that because it's all about you, not the strangers you talk about. Okay, Tony, Caitlyn is what's most important to me, first of all. And I never attacked Tammy. In fact, if you do go back to my broadcast, I cried after my interview, or if you want to call it an interview, after my discussion with Matthew. I cried in the following two podcasts, or whatever you want to call them, because I felt bad for the fact that Tammy was blamed for so much stuff, and it just felt bad. And I have personally messaged Tammy asking her if she wants them removed. I have asked her if she wants help, etc., and she has told me, "Thanks, hun." And I know she's going through a lot, so I'm not mad about that. But she to me doesn't feel attacked. I mean, I think if you want to protect her and stuff, that's good. She needs protection. She needs love and support. Everybody does. But Caitlyn is the person I look at. Your one entitled Tammy Speaks Out. Oh yeah, in that one, the negative thing I said in that video about Tammy was that she went ha 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 ha, and she was like mocking people who cared about Caitlyn. I felt like that was very off-putting. Do you really think that was an attack though, Tony? I mean, honestly, like from human to human, do you really feel like that was an attack? I'm asking you sincerely, because I don't feel like that was an attack at all. And I have asked Tammy if anything she wants removed, I will remove it. I have asked her that before. Courtney said, good morning. Good morning, Courtney. Rod Starkey said, Tony Baisley, why did you threaten Celeste's children, you sicko? Talk to me sometime and see how it goes with you. At this point in time, Tony, I've heard that you are an addict yourself. So that's where I kind of disregard a lot of the things that you've said. Anthony said, Tony B is a nut. Tony Baisley said, you're not worth talking to, Stiff Sergeant. Okay, but this is about Caitlyn. So this is about Caitlyn. You can hate me. But I know what Anthony told Caitlyn. I want Anthony in trouble. Anthony told her to hang herself. He said he'd buy the rope. You're a worthless whore. Hang yourself, and would touch her sexually. And he's still just living like a free man. Exactly, Courtney. There must be accountability. And Tony, you can hate people for wanting some sort of justice. I will never be able to wrap my head around that. Then again, I'm not an addict other than to food. So like I don't know how you tick, but that right now is where I stand. I want Anthony to be held accountable for something. And surely everyone can agree that Anthony needs to be held accountable for something. Tony Baisley said, I'm not an addict, you idiot. You just believe what you want to believe. Luke Callahan murdered Caitlyn. Well, Luke Callahan did have something to do with it. We all agree on that too. He was a pervert. He was doing criminal things. A.B. Tariq is the one who told her to kill herself, and same with Anthony. I said you're an addict, Tony, because rumor has it that, and I normally don't like to spread rumors, but that's what I've heard. And you're right, I do believe what I want to believe. I hope that most people, when they believe things, it's because they want to believe it. I hope. Tony said, and Courtney, that is true. Anthony P. said, yes, Anthony should be charged for deleting her post. Yes! That's tampering with evidence. Courtney said Luke is responsible. Tony is right. Luke and Anthony, and I don't know what we can do with AB Tariq. I've googled the laws regarding foreign interactions online with death threats and whatnot. Tony, I'm sure you would understand why. And it's really, you can file reports. Courtney Michael said there is more than Luke. There is more. Yes, there is more than Luke. And I understand as a male, I think a lot of males are just so like, every emotion that we have stems from years and years of this reality and how we've perceived it and the experiences we've gone through. Like, not to sound crazy, but that is how we reach conclusions in this moment. And I think a lot of men, grown men, they mostly point the finger at Luke because he was doing criminal, disgusting things with a younger girl. And yes, certainly he needs to be held accountable for that. As a woman who grew up victim to men the same way that Caitlyn was with Anthony, I know the power of words when someone is telling you to kill yourself in details, making you feel worthless, but then at the same time sexually taking advantage of you or trying to. There's a lot of power in that. Mix in the Prozac. That's just a recipe. And so for me, that's why I always go after Anthony, is because I know the power of his words. A lot of girls talk to older guys online and they don't end up doing what she did. Tony Baisley said, well, you are spreading a rumor about me and you still haven't shown a death threat. No, we have actually shown death threats, Tony. We all have screenshots and stuff. I mean, why would we make that up? I'm not going to go on about that, though, because that's nothing to do with Caitlyn. Tony Baisley said, he Skyped her, and that is what killed her. I'm not watching your stupidity anymore. Okay, Tony, bye. Well, again, a lot, and I'm not saying this makes it okay at all, but a lot of guys, I was, when I moved in with Brandon, who was 19, I was 12, I had my 13th birthday there, and I didn't even know the legalities, I didn't even know that it was illegal, and I had so many online and, well, not in person really, but I had a lot of online flirting and stuff with older guys, and I didn't even know it was illegal. And I can say, yeah, they took advantage of me and stuff, but it never contributed to anything suicidal. But, we're all entitled to our own opinions. And as long as people care about Caitlyn, that's what matters. Some people, we're all going to have a differing opinion on, even like my best friends I talk to about Caitlyn on a daily basis. We all have our own, for me, it's Anthony and the Prozac. For some people, it's Tammy's neglect. For some people, it's Luke. For some people, it's AB Tariq. For some people, it's the school system and the CPS system. And for some people, it was the absence of her father. I mean, everybody has their own, like, target they're going after the most. And that's fine. That's good. That shows that we all care about Caitlyn. Well, Tony, since I know that you're still in here and I know that you talked to Tammy, I do want to add, to just give her some, how should I say this? Let her know that she has options. Like, the last thing that she needs after someone is controlling as Anthony is to feel like she has no, I don't know how to word it. I just know that, she doesn't need to be controlled. And I hope that you're giving her the advice that she needs that can help kind of lead her to a clean path for AJ and Abby. And for her own happiness and inner peace. You know, Jeremy came in here and talked, and I've talked to a lot of, well, I've talked to Jeremy just now. I've talked to, as y'all all know, I've talked to Matthew. I've talked to Debbie. I talked to Daphne for a little bit. And Tammy's the only one other than AJ who saw the unthinkable, who witnessed the unthinkable. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't want to say it. And for that reason, I will always, when people say, well, Tammy should have to be going through hell, and Tammy should have to be, well, you know what? She is. But she's also a mother and has 2 young kids who love her very much. And she has gone through the ultimate hell. Anthony needs to go through the ultimate hell. Steve said, Caitlyn had a lot of negative things going on in her life, but no one will know what pushed her over the edge. Exactly. None of us really, we're all pondering. You know, Tony said that I don't know what I'm talking about, and he's right. We're all guessing. It's a guessing game at this point. Hi, Mohammed. Thank you for the heart. What is that? Are those bikinis? That's weird. Wow, you're sure full of little emojis today. Anthony P. said, but we can guess with some degree of truth because of the video record she left. Exactly. Exactly. It would be foolish not to. I mean, she left it there for a reason, and I've said this before. She had the option to remove them, and she never did. And I think that speaks. There were some that were removed, and none of us will ever know who removed them. We don't know if she did or if someone else did. Wow. Bathtub, shower, bikini, thumbs up, kissy lips, bikini, and kissy lips. I would love to sing you a song. That's really sweet, Jessie. I don't know who you are, but right now my stream is discussing Katelyn Nicole Davis. If you don't know who that is, I recommend Googling her. And I'm not in a, I mean, you could sing, but I wouldn't be, I don't think any of us in the chat right now would be very enthusiastic unless you were singing a song like about Caitlyn or something. Oh, no problem. Oh, thanks for having such a good attitude. Kind of rude right then. Just bored in Korea. Which Korea are you in? Well, that's probably a really dumb question. I think it's obvious. Ha ha ha. Nailed it. Yeah. So what do you think of Kim Jong-un, Jessie, since you live in Korea? Or actually, I'm going to ask you, what do you think of Trump? I probably should not have asked that on the stream, but I'm just curious. I like to hear what foreigners think of our president. I've got a question to ask Jeremy. Okay, I think I should, when I talk to Jeremy, I've had a lot of requests to schedule a live stream, which it's not very easy. If it's not before like noon, it is very difficult for me to get in a live stream because at that point, with my son's therapy, my daughter's therapy, the constant appointments, and people showing up at my door and having to go. I mean, it's just very difficult. But I will make a scheduled live stream. I'll actually have to figure out how to do that too, because on YouTube it's a little difficult. But I will figure that out, and that way people can ask Jeremy whatever they want, and it will be more organized and prepared. And I'm wondering what you want to ask Jeremy. You don't have to say what you want to ask him. I'm just curious. The question is long. Oh, okay. Well, my question was kind of rhetorical. Hi, Scott John. My question was kind of rhetorical. It was like, and it never really got an answer that I kept asking him. I don't know if you heard me, but I kept asking, like, so after y'all realized y'all wouldn't be able to, like, own Caitlyn as your own child, did y'all just give up completely with making efforts to see her or better her life or better her situation or help Tammy or anything like that? And then he had to go. But that's pretty much my remaining question. Scott said, ciao. Anthony said, it's about something Matt said that nobody seemed to pick up on. Oh, okay. I wonder if it's something that that randomly comes into my head too. Jesse said, and Trump, well, I'm a soldier, so I don't talk about the commander-in-chief regardless of my, oh, okay. Anthony said it concerns her cell phone. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about Caitlyn's cell phone, right? Not Tammy's. Yes. I don't know. The phone Katie had at the time of her death was not from Matt. Is that what you were going to ask, Anthony? Because Courtney just said the phone Caitlyn had at the time of her death was not from Matt. So was it from Tammy? He bought her a BlackBerry. Yes, exactly. I don't know like where the question was going, but I don't really think it matters who bought her the phone. A lot of 12-year-olds use phones. It's just, you know, that their usage has to be monitored. Unless you were going to ask, like, if Anthony had a way to, I mean, if Matthew had a way to communicate with her on it or something like that. It matters because of something Matt said. Oh, okay. Yes. So, like, God, I've actually never listened to those recordings since I uploaded them, my conversations with Matthew, because it was very hard for me to do. Rod said, what type of phone did Caitlyn have? You know, I actually heard the ringtone of Caitlyn's, the one that went off on that horrific video, and I heard it for the first time recently, and it was super hard to hear. Matt had the number. Go back and listen to them. Matt did have the number? So he had her personal cell phone number? Then why did he never, is that what you were going to ask? That's pretty bad, honestly. Like, Matt, if you're watching this, like, you already know, like, the thing about Matt is when it comes to me, I don't know if he does this for other people, but he allows me to speak my mind about him. He allows me to not necessarily insult him, but to criticize. And he's even told me that he knows I love his daughter and that's all he cares about, and so he never holds it against me. Matt had the number, yes, as did many family members. Wow. See, that's what I want to ask Jeremy. He had to leave when I kept asking him this, but It's not like she was, like Elizabeth Smart and kidnapped and hidden away. She was accessible to a degree. And like I said, Tammy was not holding a gun to people's heads. And Anthony may have been a big, scary boogeyman threatening them, but that's more of a reason that they should have intervened. You can't just leave it up to CPS. If CPS wasn't going to let her be adopted out, then that just shows that they weren't very diligent in helping the situation. So that would be more, I'm not beating up on anyone. I have questions that are valid. Okay. Yeah, that's the only hard thing about talking to family members sometimes is they automatically take something as an attack, and that's the last thing I want them to feel like, because it's hard enough to open up about something like that, but then when you feel like you're having to prove to the world that you loved the very person who killed themselves, like, I can't even imagine the pain. Matt is smart, and I understand a lot of what he was saying. Okay. Yeah, I know that Caitlyn was hurting a lot because of not having a dad. We all love Caitlyn. This is the reason we continue to talk about her. No other reason. Rod, I am going to repeat what you just said. We all love Caitlyn. This is the reason we continue to talk about her. No other reason. Now, I can't say that for everyone, but I know for everyone right now in this chat, including myself, that is true. As I told Steve Parrish, I told him I hoped the family would come together. Yeah, but the thing is, I think 5 years is long enough for them, because they said when Caitlyn was 5, that's about the time that Tammy stopped letting them see Caitlyn. That's a long enough time for them to realize, some people just aren't compatible. They just weren't compatible with Tammy. That's fine. But then you as the adult still make an effort to see the child. Like, you don't just, okay, well, I'm incompatible with the mom, so I'm going to give up. That's ridiculous. And I hear that echoed all the time from absent fathers, from absent grandparents, from absent aunts and uncles, and to me, it's just an excuse. Hi, Barack. So, I mean, just because they were incompatible with Tammy, and just because they hated her and they felt like she was keeping Caitlyn from them, those are just feelings. They can be set aside to still see Caitlyn. Matthew lived less than 2 miles down the road. Exactly, and I don't see how people can just set that aside. I don't understand that. And I heard that he's now pressing charges on Tammy, and I don't, what about, I just don't see how that can be done when, I mean, less than 2 miles down the road. I'm part of a support group that's called Grieving the Living. Okay, it's for people who've grown up with parents who basically abandoned them and don't care about them. And there is more pain in grieving the living than grieving the dead, because the dead, they have no option. They can't make an effort to see you or talk to you. But when you've got a family member who's not only alive, but alive and well and living that close to you, that is 10 times more painful. Steve said, I don't think Matt really cared when Caitlyn was still alive. Right. And this is the thing. Everybody goes after Tammy. But this is the thing. As a YouTuber, I get comments every day on my videos. And there's the same pattern of comments from Matthew's videos where 9 times out of 10, the person feels sorry for Matt. And I don't know if it's because they heard him crying. Maybe it's just because he spoke. He spoke out. And so, when someone speaks out, you feel like a sense of connection. Like, okay, well, this person spoke to me. So it's kind of like how you're less angry at somebody when you talk to them and, when you actually hear them out. But Tammy right now, I get nothing but hate comments about Tammy. And I think a lot of it is because she hasn't spoken out, and that's not really fair. Matthew had a great upbringing. From what he said, he had a great upbringing. He had an educated family. They take care of him. I mean, he lives with them. He's never had to really struggle in that way. He decided to go to join the army. He wasn't deployed, like it wasn't like back in the old days, like where he had no option. He chose to go there. He knew what that entailed. He came back. He got the typical PTSD. He plays video games. He does what he wants to do. He relaxes, whatever. He lived down the road from Caitlyn. He was aware of all that was going on in the trailer. Okay, excuse me. He wasn't aware of the extent of it, but he did know. He did know enough. Nothing was done. Yet people make all these excuses for Matthew, and I never hear people talking about Tammy's upbringing and the fact that she was being controlled by a big man who was giving her death threats if she tried to leave. She did contact police about him molesting Caitlyn. She did. This is where the police didn't correctly follow through. This is where I've contacted Polk County and I've asked, what the heck? And it's always the same repetitive thing of, we're doing our due diligence. Yeah, okay, at this point, not really. Anthony said, I want to make it clear, I don't dislike any of them. I dislike some of what some people have done. Same here. Rod said, I'll never understand why Matthew never visited Caitlyn while she was in the hospital. He told me that he didn't have a way to see her, that he didn't know how to call her when she was in the hospital. But then later on, he said that his own family members went to go visit her in the hospital. So that, to me, didn't add up. Anthony said, Caitlyn had a right to be loved and cared for. She will never live and grow. Yeah, and for that reason, I wish that she would have been legally adopted out. Sorry, I have to go to the bathroom really bad. I've been holding my pee for a really long time. But you can talk amongst yourselves. I will return. It's supposed to get sunny here in a few hours. I'm really glad about that. I want to ask Jeremy things since he knew Caitlyn when she was like kindergarten age. I have a lot. I want to ask him just like trivial things, but they're not really trivial because they deal with Caitlyn. So like things about like what Caitlyn's favorite places to go were and her favorite foods and things I've been wanting to ask, but nobody ever has an answer for. This is LaCroix, and they had this at the Dollar Tree yesterday. I was like, are you kidding me? I made such a good dinner last night from the Dollar Tree. I got the Jenny O, I think is the brand, turkey bacon. I didn't eat it, but I made it for the family. Made all this turkey bacon, and then I made homemade pancakes with the real maple syrup because we're in Minnesota. And then I also made scrambled eggs. And then this is so unhealthy. I normally don't cook like this, okay? And then I also did homemade cookies for my husband's work. But then he forgot to take them today. This shirt doesn't fit either because it's my son's. This is too big too. This is an extra large. And then this is my son's, and I just am a mess. Thank you, Scott. It's so peaceful right now. It's almost like eerily peaceful. I need to try to figure out how to live stream, like outside, but it just never works. I mean, obviously, like I know how to do it. It never works when I try, and I don't want to be inside all morning. Three degrees here. 3 degrees? 3 degrees? Did you mean to say 30? 3 degrees? So let's see who's in my audience at the moment. 3? Where do you live, Scott? Montana? Oh, it looks so pretty. Montana. Parts of Brokeback Mountain were filmed in Montana, and it looks so pretty. But gosh, that cold? No. Well, you might like the cold. A lot of people do. Like up here, when I complain about the cold, the locals are always like, yeah, but I like to go outside and fight with nature. It makes it feel like a challenge to go outside and fight. And I'm like, I don't want to fight nature. Like, I want to go outside and be barefoot and lie down on my hot driveway and smell the hot asphalt. And I want to feel one with the ground. Like, well, that sounds kind of freaky, but I want to like lie down in the grass and I want to feel one with nature. I don't want to feel like I'm battling it. I want to feel like it loves me and I love it. Anthony said it's 42 in Valdez, Alaska, right? You're in God, all these cold climates. Alaska's warmer than Montana. That is funny. Oh, God, wrong movie to choose. I need my 4 seasons. Okay. Well, actually, Brokeback Mountain was a really good movie. Oh my gosh. Like, even if, you know, the homosexuality, like, makes some straight guys, like, feel weird, but it's a really good movie. This is the thing about the 4 seasons myth. That's what I call it up here in Minnesota. And I think a lot of it is just ignorance is bliss, because the people up here, they always say, oh, but we get the 4 seasons. And I'm like, there's spring. We're hunting for Easter eggs, dressed like Eskimos in ice and snow. For me, that's not spring. I'm used to spring being, you know, the stereotypical blossoming flowers where we're wearing sundresses and it's sunny and the sky is blue. That's how I see spring. Our falls up here, yes, while they are very pretty and orange and, you know, the, what do they call it, the autumn foliage or whatever, it is so short-lived that it's almost like a tease. Like, it's so short-lived. And the summer here for me, if I can't go swimming at nighttime in the summer without freezing, like if I can't go swimming outside at nighttime, for me, that's not a real summer. And up here, you cannot go swimming outside in the night without freezing to, like, it would be actually kind of dangerous sometimes. So, like, I don't consider those, but again, it's all relative. You know, like, I grew up in Tennessee, so for me, it's all relative. Like, I know what it could be, but the people who've, like, lived up here their whole lives, they don't. So for them, this is all normal. This is how the girls are doing their hair. I've never done my hair like this before, but wow, this is funny. What do you think? I work with 3 fellas from Minnesota at the firehouse. Summers in Montana are 90 up. Yeah, we have had days like that, but they're not very often. And the thing is too is our wind, we're actually, if you Google windiest cities in the country, Rochester, Minnesota is number 2 beneath New York. So that says a lot. The wind, and the lack of sun constantly makes it much, like, I never care, whatever the degrees says on the weather, I always subtract 10, because that's actually what it's going to feel like. So even though it says like 29 right now, it feels more like 19. Does anyone know if Steve raised the rest of the money for the bench for Caitlyn's grave? I don't. Courtney would be the person to ask, because Courtney's the one who has spoken. I've never messaged Steve, so I don't know. I know that Courtney has. Scott said, yeah, wind chill makes it brutal. Yes, wind chill. I'm going to look at my audience. Richard Stiles is here. Mohammed. Courtney. Scott, Tony, Steve Smith, and Anthony. Okay, I don't like this. I don't like the way this looks. Do y'all remember that movie, The Coneheads? I gotta do my roots soon. I can't do this anymore. I cannot have this much root showing. Looks very tacky. Great flick, yeah. I saw it when I was so young. I barely remember, but I remember enough, obviously. I'm just gonna do a braid because that's always the easiest. Keeps it out of my face. Probably would help if I had a comb. It's gonna be super messy. I want to show y'all this book that my daughter made, and she made she just did it on her own. I didn't even like tell her what to do. She didn't ask me for advice. I think it's so creative what she did. Hold on. And it's really funny. This is probably the sloppiest, grossest looking braid, but whatever. That's when the cast of Saturday Night Live is good. Steve is not fundraising. It's just personal donors for those who desire. Okay, hold on. I'm going to show you the book I'm talking about. I think it's in this drawer. Cause you don't think I know what you've done. Hold on. Here it is. Ah. Okay. Okay. So my daughter, hi Scott, thank you for becoming a fan, put together this book. It's called Just One More. Okay, and this is when we were living at the shelter that she did this. So this was last, I think, November. It was last time this year. We were at the kitchen table in the shelter. And so this book was here, and there was a magazine. And my daughter is like the artist kid. Like all the kids ask her, draw me this, draw me that. And let me block some of that light. Okay. And so it's called Just One More. And so what it does is it teaches you Spanish on one side, okay? So this page is normal. So she replaced the head on this page with, what is her name? Catherine Hegel or something? And I think it's kind of funny. Like she made her like okay. And then on this one, she took the mouth and put it beneath the eyes. I mean, I just thought that was so cool. Like she did this in like 10 minutes. No prompt, no request, just did it while all the other kids are playing with Legos. And because I was kind of like the designated babysitter in the shelter. So like when I was in the communal kitchen, it was like we would do all kinds of games. This is what Ruby chose to do. And then she put Jennifer Lopez's head right there. It got wet, unfortunately, so it's kind of odd to look at. But what is on my pants? Looks like I spilled something. Uh-oh. That looks gross. I'm going to fix that. She put this, I don't know who that lady is, but that's kind of funny. This one, she put, what is her name? She was like in Mean Girls and stuff. Amanda Seyfried or something. She put that there. She put, I don't know who she is, but she's really pretty, whoever this girl is. She put her very doll-like face on this girl swinging, and I think it was kind of fitting because she looks, I don't know, it's just, it's neat to me. Then, splat, now Ruby has none. And then she put, I don't know that actress's names, but you know who she is. And that just, so funny to me. Paris Hilton, she put in between this girl's eyes. Nothing on that one. Looks kind of like Abby and AJ, doesn't it? A little bit. Looks like Abby and AJ. That looks just like Abby to me. Caitlyn's little sister. And then, is that it? Yeah, that's it. And then it ends with ice cream. But I just thought that was so funny. Okay, I really need to clean up on my pants. This is disgusting looking. I don't know what's going on, how that happened. Using it as a mirror. Now it's going to look like I peed on myself. These are not my most flattering pants, so yeah. I need my light back on. Never mind me. It's not coming up actually. It looks like I got bleach marks or something. I just need to change pants. Wow, this is like hard to drink because it's so heavy. Gosh. Alright, you guys. I'm going to go change pants, and then I'm going to see if I can live stream outside in the freezing weather. I did get headphones, though, that are earmuffs, like with built-in headphones. I got them off eBay, so I can use them. So, I'm going to get off here now. I might go outside, okay? You need to put a wireless router next to the wall. I have one, like, do you mean, like, outside or, like, closer to, because the thing is when I try to, like, go outside and do it, then I lose connection. The router that I have is in the den. I need to have a smoothie. All right, you guys. Thank you for joining my chat. I'm going to go change pants that don't look disgusting. And I'm going to try to figure out how to talk to y'all outside. Because I want to go outside. And then I'm going to have to start cleaning and I won't be able to be on anymore. So, yeah. But I really appreciate those of you who came in here. And, all right. Sorry, I like keep burping. This has a lot of carbonation in it. Bye.